Hey,
Woo.
hey, y'all. Welcome to the Real Recognize Real Talk radio show. I am your host, Franchella, and the
And I
beautiful.
am the co-host, Lynette. Hey.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on, peoples? How's everybody been? It just seemed like it's always forever time we get back, right? But
I know. We miss y'all. We hope y'all missed us too. But we're back.
right.
Live and ready.
It seems like at times that it's here fast. Like, oh my God, already? I feel like we just finished the show. We had a dynamic show last time, which we're gonna have to redo on that one.
Yeah, y'all gonna have to watch it if y'all haven't watched it. All of our previous shows are on the RRR Talk Radio's website, as well as on our Facebook page. So make sure y'all watch it if you haven't watched it live.
Absolutely.
It was awesome about relationships and love and staying power. And it was a real conversation. So we definitely have to bring that back again.
Absolutely. It's how to find love, how to stay in love, how to keep it spicy, that whole 9 yards. So yeah, check that out. But we had some awesome couples on, and
yes,
we're gonna bring them back because if y'all could have seen after we ended the broadcast, the conversation.
Yes.
I was like, yo.
I was like, go back live. But
yeah. So we'll do a redo.
Yeah, we're gonna do
part two. So we have some fabulous guests for you today, and we're going to talk to our guests first, and then we're going to get into the hood news a little later.
Yes.
So I see
Cynthia or Langston. Cynthia
Langston is in the queue. So we're going to bring up Langston.
Let me put my little.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, welcome back, Langston.
Hi. How are you?
Grateful. How are you two?
Good. Why you act like your dad?
He's such a grown young man.
I got his genetics.
Absolutely.
So let me give you a proper brief introduction, and then we'll go right into it. So Langston, the Prince, I call him, and multi-talented son of Rev Rufus and Peaches Paris Rogers. He's Little Rev Jr. Has been a natural performer, gifted by God since birth. He loves singing, acting, dancing, writing, and drawing, and he's fabulous in all of these areas as well. He acts in several commercials and film and plays a role in the Disney's Pixar Cars. The family also released a prayer journal book, Family That Prays Together, Succeeds Together, and they have been doing just that, succeeding. Langston is back today to talk with us about his new single that we're excited to hear about, With a Child's Heart, which is a remake of the hit song, the Motown, I should say, hit song by the Jackson 5. So welcome back, Langston.
Yes, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
We want to hear all about what have you been doing since our last show. I think you were on the October show with your parents, Larry and Paris, and tell us about your new music that you have coming out and anything else you want to share.
Yeah, so my new CD with the Child's Heart coming out on March 28th, and I'm just really happy that I was able to do this with my family. It was an incredible experience. Not too long ago, I believe, if I'm correct, like on Sunday or Monday, I was filming my music video out on the beach, and that was a lot of fun, and it was amazing. Shout out to my family, my cameraman, Mr. X, Uncle X, and my voice mentor, Uncle Said. It was I was really happy that I was able to film it. And the one thing that I did not like was the sand in my feet.
You like my mother. My mother said the same thing when we went to the beach one time. She was like, "Oh my God, the sand is in my feet." I said, "Did you not know we was going to the beach and there was sand at the beach?"
Yeah, I had sand all up in my feet. It was painful. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, great
that was
experience. Terrible feet pain.
So did you have? I'm assuming you don't have on beach shoes.
for your video.
Not at all. I was just out there, just relaxing, being a child. Yeah, it was great. I think you guys are really gonna enjoy the music video and the CD, and it was just an incredible experience for me.
So
Awesome. So tell us, are you a Michael Jackson fan? What inspired you to want to do that particular?
Oh, absolutely, I'm a Michael Jackson fan, and I just love his music, and it's just the best. And I just really wanted to do this. My parents helped me out all the way. Like I said, my voice mentor, Uncle Said, he's always been giving me like some directions, and I'm just really glad he's there in my life. And I'm just happy. And there's like a lot of things that I want to do more. And this is just the start of what I believe is going to be great.
that's right.
I do as well. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Absolutely. I mean, but you're already the way you're starting already by having God put first with everything that you do and in your life. There's nothing but success that's in your cards. So you continue in that path, and I mean, it's just going to blow up. So what inspired? What is the name of your CD coming out?
With a Child's Heart.
With the Child's Heart.
You have it right here.
All right, now
Yeah,
I know that's right. So how can people purchase the copy?
They can follow my mom's. They can go to my mom's Cash App. It's $ Mrs. Paris Rogers, and you can get it. It's if I'm correct, $5, and pre-orders are starting now.
Oh,
that's
okay.
right. I would definitely get it. I would say
it's actually $7. It just came back. It's actually $7.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. It's well worth it.
It's $7 for the shipping and handling.
Okay.
It's well worth it, I'm sure.
Right.
So you were basically saying you're a Michael Jackson fan. So when you did the music, did you channel him, or were you your authentic self? Did you channel Michael in the music, or tell us a little bit?
50-50.
You kind of remind me a little light skin version a little bit right now when he was little.
the original Michael.
Yeah, everybody says that.
The original Michael. So I mean, are we going to hear a little something? I mean,
what you want to give us a little snippet?
Sing, I know, acapella. No.
Not the whole song though. Look! I hear Daddy. How you doing, Rev? I hear that. I hear you, Rev.
Y'all know.
How are you? That's Daddy right there for y'all who don't know. He's also talented as well.
Very.
Reverend, an actor. He does.
Thank you.
He's a writer, a singer, you name it. This is a lot of where Langston gets his talent from.
And y'all our sisters. I love y'all so much. I just want y'all to really. I want y'all to know that I really, my wife and I and our son, we really appreciate y'all. Anytime I call y'all have never Hollywood me or been bougie or none of that. And this was a last minute thing. So Franchella, and Lynette, thank y'all. Y'all didn't have to do this. This was I want y'all. I want the listeners and viewers should know y'all. This was a last minute thing, and y'all are so professional. I was like, y'all know how I am about flyers, and Lynette was like, send it to Franchella. She got it. I said, but it's tomorrow. I looked up at it was right there. I was like, okay, I'm done. I said, and when you're dealing with professionals, it's gonna happen. And like I always tell men, I say, if you want something to happen, you better have a good woman in your life, brother.
Amen.
Women, with God and women make the world go round.
I totally agree. Thank you for
that. And I ain't just jeffing y'all. That's a fact.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going today. I'm out of here. Bye.
Right.
We appreciate it. That's for sure.
Thank you. And we love y'all back as a family. Yes. So God bless all of you. Now back to the music, Langston.
All right, this is a little snippet of my new song, With a Child's Heart. With a child's heart, go face the worries of the day. With a child's heart, turn each problem into play. No need to worry. No need to fear. Just being alive makes it all so very clear.
Oh, yes.
He even sound like the young Michael Jackson, y'all.
Yes. So, I mean, when did you know you had talent? I mean, that you wanted to do this? You started singing, or like, how did this all come about?
I started singing when I was 2, and my parents knew that I had talent, and so they helped me perfect it. And I'm just so grateful to God that I have them in my life.
Oh, that's so amazing.
It makes a difference. Good parenting. So it is a blessing, because it's not parenting doesn't come with a manual. But I kudos to your parents, because they've done a heck of a job raising you.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
So make sure that you get Langston's new single, With a Child's Heart, and you can cash at his mother Paris, it's $PARIS. Finish it. Is it Rogers or Paris Rogers?
Paris Rogers.
Mrs. Paris Rogers.
Mrs. So it's $Mrs. Paris Rogers, and Rogers is
RODGERS.
Exactly. So it's $Mrs. Paris, PRIS RODGERS. So make sure y'all get his single, With a Child's Heart. Right. I will definitely get the CD today. So thank you. Is there anything else you want to share that you're working on?
Well, I actually do want to share this. In my school, they were doing like a drawing assignment. And I don't know if anyone watching likes anime, but some of y'all will recognize this. I made this myself. It's actually my favorite anime character named Goku, and this is one of his power levels. I made this.
Wow!
Wow!
Yeah, I drew this. I was just really happy. Oh, and this is my dad's favorite.
How long did it take you to?
It took me around like I would say 20 or 30 minutes.
Oh wow!
This was like a painting that I did in first grade. This is my dad's favorite right here. It's an owl that I drew in my second grade.
Oh, that's creative. And what is at the bottom? Stars.
Mm-hmm. Yep, these are all stars, and I really like this one. My dad certainly does. This is his favorite, actually.
You should do did you ever think about doing a children's book, being as though you are already the illustrator?
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing a comic. My parents are helping. It's in early development, and actually we do have a book out. It's a prayer journal.
I have it.
Yes. Oh, that's so awesome. But we want to thank you so much for coming on. We got to support the youth, so we could not turn you down. We probably would have turned your dad down if he called us. So we could never turn you down. So best of luck to you, and once again, we love you guys, and this is always a platform for you to promote anything that you're doing going forward, and we wish you much success.
And tell people how they can follow you on social media as well, or follow your parents.
Yeah, right. He should be on.
Follow us on Instagram at Larry, Paris, and Langston.
They also have YouTube channel out there also, so make sure that you also follow them on YouTube as well. The same address, Larry
and
Paris.
You also follow me on my own Instagram. It's Langston Rogers.
Okay, all right, he's growing up. He's growing up. Thank you for sharing your talent with the world. The best of luck to you, and thank you for coming back on the Real Recognized Real Talk Radio.
Thank you so much for having me. This was an incredible experience, and I'm glad I got to do it a second time.
Thank you so much. Yes. God bless you.
God bless you too.
All right. He is such a talent, such a gift, and a lot of kids his age are usually afraid to actually, even though they have the talent, they're afraid to use the talent. So his parents are heading him in the right direction. So
absolutely.
And shout out to the Roger family.
Yes, shout out. So as we were waiting for our other guests to come on, we're going to get into the hood news, and I got my boy sitting in the green room right now, so I'm going to bring him up and let him. He's doing some fabulous things as well.
Okay, let's see.
Hey.
How are you?
How you doing? How y'all doing today?
Good. How are you, Mr. We Talk Weekly?
Yeah, for sure. I had to come on. Big sis send out the bad signal, so I said, let me jump on real quick, holler at the good old folks.
Yeah, I know that's right.
So before we get started, we get into this hood news. Tell the viewers a little bit about you and We Talk Weekly.
Yeah, so my name is Charles Gregory. I'm actually a wardrobe stylist and celebrity wardrobe stylist and image consultant. Been doing it for over a decade now, and throughout the years, it's one thing about doing fashion, but being able to have the fashion commentary but behind it. And so what I started to do was started to create certain shows based around it, and then We Talk Weekly, and We Talk Weekly is kind of like in short, kind of like your entertainment tonight, so to speak. And we do a lot of interview content, fashion, politics. We're doing a lot of politics. We're on a politics trail right now, as we just been selected to be one of the media outlets for the Every Voice, Every Vote campaign. And so we've been doing a lot of interviewing in terms of the mayoral candidates. And so that's where we're going right now. But anything that's pop culture, anything that's for the community, anything when you talk about Black entertainment, that's what we're on.
And I like the fact that you move around, like I see y'all a lot at different events, and I'm like, oh look, I see We Talk Weekly. Like I think the last time I saw you were at the jazz music festival, the hip hop jazz and music festival.
Yeah, for sure.
I saw you. So you're doing a good thing. Shout out to Sparkle too. Shout out to Sparkle. We gotta say that.
Yeah, Spark. That's the leadership. Go ahead. I'm sorry, friend. I didn't hear you. What you say?
I said, I'm away traveling too much to be able to be going out somewhere. I gotta say, Lynette is always out. I'm like, go ahead, girl, take that mic and do your thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be having fun. I don't be working.
No doubt.
They be working. Kudos,
yes,
kudos. I love it. So, y'all, we're going to get into the hood news. We had two more people. I don't know if they having issues getting on or not, but as I see them in the green room, I will bring them up. But it's just so much going on out there. I mean, we talk about so many topics, but we want to first, and we need to probably put it to bed at some point because it has been over a year. But it's still, I mean, everyone's still talking about it, because the thing about it is they're going to be talking about this for years to come, because that's all everybody's going to remember, period. Right. So we're now talking about, of course, the infamous smack during last year's Oscars. And I saw the host of this year, also tapped on it as I wouldn't expect any less, but
Yeah.
I guess a lot of people, we're divided. Of course, I
Yeah.
support Will 100%, only because, not only because, but we grew up together,
Yeah.
from the same neighborhood. And so I support him in his movies and his life, but I could not support him in what he did.
What happened?
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Right. I couldn't. I don't care. We grew up together. I know him. He know me by Boosie. When he see me, he speak. So I do have our other one, and let me bring him up too. Hey, how are you?
Hi.
You must be on mute, because we see that we
And he
can't.
got a
How about now?
okay, yeah. I was
Okay,
like, you got a
perfect,
fancy
perfect.
microphone that ain't working.
No, but my light just blew out, so hopefully I'm not too dark.
No,
No,
not you.
you're
Nice skin.
fine.
You okay?
Okay.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Recognized Real Talk radio show.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
Right.
we just started getting ready to get into the hood news of the issue with Chris Rock and Will
Will Smith.
Smith, and how everybody, now that finally Chris has come out during his comedy special about this, a lot of people are coming at his neck, and saying that why he took a whole year, and went about it and things like that. So we want to hear everybody's perspective on this situation. So
So
Charles,
I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna let y'all talk, and then I'll talk because I'll go on forever. So
I gotta shut her down.
if you watch, you already know. So we're gonna open the floor to the guests.
Yes. So
Yeah,
Charles,
man. Yeah, for sure. So for me, I'm sorry, I'm kind of like in another meeting as I came to do this. I wanted to jump on real quick, but for me, I think that I mean, definitely Will was wrong. Period. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. It was a bad look for even black men, right? People already intimidated about us, and for him to do that on a national stage, it was wrong, 100%. That said, um, Chris Rock, bad joke. It was a bad joke. I mean, if you didn't understand the context, him saying G.I. Jane, you probably would have missed it, would have went over your head, right? And so it's a bad joke, right? But it didn't warrant for him to be assaulted, right? And so because of that, you have a grown man pretty much. He took the higher route, right? He didn't do anything then. He didn't say anything, and he played it so well that a lot of people thought it was staged, right?
right?
So
I
that
do.
that's a
Right.
that's a kudos to him because anybody else would have been dramatic about it, right? And so I'm glad that he did that. But I guess for me, the issue that I have now is how people are responding about his special that he did. When the first thing that happens when it comes to music, right? And you see beefs, everybody used to say, "Oh, put it in the music." Put it in the music. Don't be physical about it. Well, he put it in his music, right? He put it
Exactly.
in his art. And I think that was the best thing that he could have did. But everybody is mad that he started calling them out. If you put all of this in context and say this was a grown man who was smacked in front of the world and didn't do anything, do you know how much hurt and anger and resentment he'd been carrying this whole
Yeah.
time?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That he finally had the opportunity to say something
And
and the
get it
world
out.
is mad. Yeah, and the world is mad that he responded that way.
Right.
Like, come on, man, cut it out. They say, okay, you can give a little, okay, you can say, Chris, you didn't have to call her a B, right? You ain't have to call her the B word. Well, we listen to rap music all the time,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
B's and O's and all that. Come on, like, cut it out. Just cut it out. And so
And
for
it's the
me, it was
same way that you can say, well, he shouldn't have punched him in the face.
right.
So
It's exactly. But see, that's the thing. You don't get the opportunity. If you start it, you don't get the opportunity to tell me how I'm supposed to handle that.
Right.
exactly.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? And so you lucky that I handle it through words, through my comedy, right?
Right.
You
Right.
talking about somebody that has brothers that's about that life, right?
Right.
His brothers could have handled that with them. They all fell back. They made comedy about it. They put it in their art. So for me, it was just like, I just wish people, when they talk about these safe spaces and the world is talking about that, I think they need to give Chris a little bit more grace as it
Right.
relates to how he handled that, because I
Right.
believe he couldn't have handled that no
There's
better
no
way.
one better than that.
I
Absolutely.
totally agree with you 100%.
And so when you talked about just now, his joke, and you said it was a bad joke, I actually looked at it as something that would have got Jada back out there working, because
That's
it could have
yep.
been a part two, right? But instead of going that right, when he said, G.I. Jane, I personally, because I always have a comeback, I would have jumped up and turned around and looked at the audience being, you mean G.I. Jada? You know what I
I know
mean?
that's right. Yeah, yeah,
They could have did it and handled it a little better. And that's why Chris talks about selective
yeah.
outrage.
Outrage.
100%,
So
100%.
Eli, is that correct? I'm saying your
Yep,
name right.
yep, that's correct.
So
So I have a completely different perspective.
okay.
Mhm.
I think that as Black men and as fathers, I mean, I'm a advocate for dads all day, every day. So I think that one, if you were going to take this long of a time to come back to respond, then you had the opportunity to do it in the most eloquent way possible. So, and I say that to simply say, like, this is what we always see. We always see us going at each other. He
Mhm.
had an opportunity. He could have did an Oprah special, had Will come on and really humbled him in a different way, and really came together. And there'd been um, kind of like this coming to Jesus moment, so to speak, where these two brothers, where Will admits again and openly, publicly apologizes to his face, which is different than apologizing on the air or apologizing. I mean,
Or
because you really
text.
have to humble yourself and really get into the meat of that conversation, especially if you look at it from the backside, if you look at it from the perspective that, you know, this is Will, quote unquote, defending his wife. So is he defending his wife, or did his wife sick him on Chris? And if you look at it from that perspective, then I mean, because you have people saying, "Oh, you know, this is her fault. This is her fault. This is her fault," because they all laughed, and then she looked at him and basically said, "Get him," and then he did, and that was his response because he didn't actually know how to do it. So, in terms of like the special itself, I don't think I posted on social media. I watched it. I laughed 6 times, and I'm thinking I'm giving him 6. I think it might have been 4. I think in terms of the amount of money that he got paid for that special and the length of time that he took to make it, it should have been fire. And I don't think it was fire at all. I think it was just I don't know. I think it was just low key basic. And I mean, when you think about Samora just had a special 2 weeks ago, hers was better. I mean, Dion Cole had a special a month ago. His was amazing. Like, I mean, it literally,
Mhm.
I was emotional after watching that. So I
Oh
expected
yeah.
if you were going to make a comeback and you were going to, you know, pretty much redeem yourself and put him in his place for what he did, you had a year to do it. And I don't think that delivered.
So my position on that, and because I agree a little bit with that. I guess my only point is you brought in some more and Deion Cole. None of those were live. So you're talking about someone who's literally doing fresh content from without.
What
He
do you
did
mean
make
when
one, I
you were
believe,
alive?
one mistake. It was a live
A
show. It wasn't
live show.
recorded.
It wasn't scripted. It,
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't recorded. This was a live broadcast. And so neither some more or anybody, this was the first time that Netflix ever did anything like that. And so you're talking about someone who did something that was historic, but also um I I hate when I hear people talk about the money, right? Because it's kind of like he's top of his game and he deserved that money. I mean, it is what it is. You're talking about Chris Rock. If you think of the top 5 celebrity comics right now, he would be in top 3. Top three, probably Dave Chappelle
I think
being
it's who
one.
you ask, because he wouldn't be
What?
in my top three.
I was about to say, so it depends on
True,
personal preference, really.
true indeed,
But
true
not to
indeed. But
discredit him at all,
Right.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
think he's funny.
True indeed. But I will argue to say that he's probably one of the top when you talk about mega comedian, black male comedians. You're not going to find a lot outside of like Dave Chappelle. Even one could argue Cat Williams is funnier, but he's
Right.
not as big as Chris Rock. He's not as big as Chris Rock. And so I think that one don't necessarily again get the opportunity or can police how I respond if
Right.
you smack me. And it could be, and some people say that when you're in certain situations, it's probably good to give you some space because you calm down a little bit.
Right.
Because if you would have probably heard me a week after that, you would have been more than just one B. You would have
Right.
been B's,
But
H's. Your family would have been
and
B's
he
and
might have
H's.
been I mean, it's obvious that he's still affected by it, and it
You can
still
see it.
upsets him by how the message was delivered in the Netflix special.
Yeah,
um should he have chosen better words? Perhaps yes. However, I don't condone it, but I understand. You know
exactly,
what I mean?
exactly.
And I think that a lot of our perspectives are different based on how we feel about each person. Like how if I like
Right.
Will Smith, then I'm for him. If I don't really care for Chris Rock, then he was wrong. You know what I mean? But I
Hundred
think
percent.
that he handled it much better than a whole lot of comics would have. They
Yeah.
would have jumped right on Will Smith back when he turned around, and it would have been a straight out brawl on the
Exactly.
Oscars.
That's where I was so impressed. But if you watch
Yeah.
the special all the way to the end, the pain that Chris had in his
You can
eyes,
Yeah.
tell.
You can see it.
he wanted to cry. Like
He's
Yeah.
still
that
affected
hurt
by it.
him to the core,
Yeah.
and whatever happened. I mean, we all sung it back in the day. Sticks and stones would break my bones, but words would never hurt me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was like for him to come up there when also that was his big night, which he still
Yeah.
got the Oscar.
Right.
Yeah.
You couldn't take that away from for his performance,
Right.
but in a way they should have.
Yeah.
I just think it was wrong, and I don't know if that was because there's a thin line between
It
sanity
is.
and insanity.
It
At
is.
any given point, we all can snap, and I don't
Yeah.
know at that point that we'll just snap.
Right.
And
So
Eli made a good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
when you take it from that perspective, and that's what I was saying, kind of at the forefront. Chris, granted, it happened to him, and he didn't need to give any level of grace to Will, but this was an opportunity for people to see Black people in another
Get
perspective other
along.
than this is a tit for tat. I mean, this is a way.
Right.
This was a way for him to really humble him in a better way, because when you think about it, Will has been carrying so much with his children, with this entanglement and all of this stuff, and people clowning him, and he's being a meme and all of this stuff. And again, if his sexual preference is his sexual preference, that is what it is, but he doesn't deserve all the clowning that he gets. Now, I'm not necessarily per se a fan
True.
of either one that I would say I'm going to side with the left or the right because I like their work. I'm looking at it from, okay, how would I have handled it as a father? How could I have done it better for my children? How could I have done it better on the grandest stage, quote unquote, of them all? And my first and foremost, my wife could have looked at me 10 times past 7, and I'm not going to get up there and go smack this man. Like, that's not, she didn't have that level of control over me. I mean, she can be mad and not call a ride home, but she's not going to make me do something like that. But that's why I think at that point, it was all of the pressure, all of the embarrassment, all of the things that he was carrying. And when he went up there and smacked Chris, he could have seen Jada's face, he could have seen Augustine's, he could have seen so many other people's faces when he smacked him. And it's just a matter of how do you handle that and how do you address that? And as men, we have been taught that we don't have any other emotion other than anger other than aggression. We can't be sad because we said what you said for. Man up. We can't cry. What you crying for? You're being a girl. Like, we can't express anything other than those two things. So,
and this is one of the reasons why I think he handled it extremely well, because with that being said, he didn't handle it in anger immediately. Now, if somebody come and smack you or punch you in the face on a national stage, it takes a whole lot to be able to refrain from naturally reacting immediately.
I agree with that totally.
It takes, even for me, like, I could not react. I'm going to be honest with you. Right. I could not react. So I was impressed. Like, wow. Even if I thought, like he said, he could beat me, I would never admit to that. But right. I would have jumped right on. I'm like, we listen. Right. It's instinct. I would think that it was instinctually. So. Right. And I don't condone violence. Let me say that I do not condone violence. It's not okay to be violent towards another person. I feel like this is what Will did, what he thought he needed to do at that time. And Chris Rock did what he thought he needed to do at this time. And so I don't err on either side or right or wrong. I think it was what each person felt like they needed to do at this time and at that time. Now, could it be handled in a much better way? Absolutely, in both instances. And perhaps maybe someday the two of them, once the smoke clears, the two of them will sit down man to man and have that conversation that you're talking about, Eli. But I think that is still, it's evident by what was displayed on the Netflix special that there's still anger there. So until that is resolved, it's going to be hard for them to have that come back to Jesus moment or kumbaya moment. Right. I'm hoping for it, and I know that one day it will happen. I just think that sometimes it takes people a little longer to say, you know what, I'm sorry, or you know what, I accept your apology. For some people, it's just different. It doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It's just different.
Right. And so it was so many comments on my Facebook page about this. And, I was getting backup YouTube things of Chris and calling him a coon and all this other stuff. The thing with me is I don't follow Chris. I told that person, the only person I follow is God. So I don't follow him. I don't follow him enough to know different things. All I know is what I saw. And I saw Will go on that stage and smack him. I went to his show when I think it was probably right after the smack. I would have never probably went to a Chris Rock show. But now I became a fan because of the way he handled it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's a lot of people, on both sides of the fence, when it comes to, he was talking about his wife. I even have my husband who said, because he even put in the comments right now, he said, I would have beat that ass quickly. So there would be
that's big homie.
Right. So, but
that's big homie right there.
Exactly. I would have to go stop him. But
see, that's right there. I ain't mean to stop you, but that is the key right there, because just like you said, I think every woman on the planet, if, say, for example, you saw your husband about to get up, I'm sure you probably would have stopped him. Right. Like, come on, not right now. We can see him after the show or something like that, right? And I think what we're seeing now, after that comedy special, is we're not compartmentalizing what happened. We're adding to the gumbo of feelings. We putting our feelings in it, and what you would have probably done, what your cousin would have probably done. That's not fair for either Chris Rock or Will Smith. That happened. He got smacked on stage. That's how Chris Rock handled it, right? That's how we got to look at it. We can't look at it like, I guess, what we kind of would have done, because all of us say something different. Because me, I know how I am, right? But I think I probably would have stood there for a minute too, like, did this nigga just smack me?
Absolutely.
Like,
I actually had that happen as a kid. Somebody hit me, and I was like, wait,
exactly.
Yeah.
How did you handle it? How did you handle it?
Well,
see,
so I was working
ahead,
at just a short story. I was working at Haagen-Dazs in Franklin Mills Mall when it first opened, and it had the zones, the red zone. Worked in the red zone at the Haagen-Dazs in the. I was a white kid, and he kept saying, "Yeah, he was going to fight me later," and I'm thinking, "Yeah, whatever, that's nonsense." And later, he was putting like he had put a strip of duct tape, but it was just like one strip across, and I just laughed because I was like, I don't know what that was supposed to do, and then he hit me, and I was just like, wait, did he hit me? And I stuffed him in the ice cream case because we were in the middle of taking signal, and I was just like, I can't believe this dude just hit me. But it was, so
you
don't expect it to happen.
Right. But so at the end, so on Chris Rock's special, on the Netflix special, at the end when he dropped the mic, I felt that because our parents do teach us about how to handle ourselves in front of the white man.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Don't act a fool. They already have us in this certain category. It's like, even on a job, how many of us put on that, different tone than when we talking to our friends on the phone? You know what I'm saying? Like, so we are to act a certain way because we don't want them to have any other perception of us. And I personally was taught that as well, not in those words, saying it like that, but how to carry yourself. But I was also taught to carry myself that same way among everybody. We knew that we had to, be a certain way in front of the different nationality, period.
Right.
And so, like I said, Will just had to snap. He had that moment where
selective outrage
with everything going on, but he what hurts me is he chose that particular time and night. I mean, that particular time to do it at the Oscars. And I don't know if that's because if Chris didn't say anything about Jada, he probably wouldn't have snapped. You know what I mean? I think that was the snapping for him was. Go ahead.
So you think
I think her face was the snapping point,
right? But so because there was no audio there, do you think it was just the look, or do you think she said something? Because I wholeheartedly think that she said something. Because I think if I remember, Will was smiling and laughing too when he first said it, and then I think it was that trick that she said something or something to that, or it could have just been the look. I don't know. I mean, because I don't know what the dynamics of their home is, but I feel like at that moment, it was all of that stuff he was carrying. Oh, you better. Oh, so this is another time you're not going to defend me, or you're not going to be there for me, and that's what the reactive.
You know what?
And he mentioned that his mother. He watched his mother be abused. He watched his mother get abused, and he felt helpless at the time. So it might have triggered that emotion too. Like,
well, let me say this too.
Not that I'm condoning it again.
Right. So I was at, and I talk about this all the time. I suffered, it has been over 15 years now, but I suffered a really bad anxiety attack where it took me to another place. So I was actually, when it came on, but it didn't fully came on, but it hit me there. I was at a comedy show. I was actually at a comedy show cracking up laughing, and all of a sudden I stopped and I felt something wasn't right. And we went home, and I had this really bad anxiety attack where it was the worst time of my life. So I'm saying that to say, that we talking about all this, which is good, but I'm saying that to say is Will was laughing at the time, but then either like you said, she could have said something to him. It could have been her look, or he actually did snap, or something in him changed, because it happened for me. It changed. I was at a comedy show cracking up laughing, and it just stopped.
You know how when you're a child and you in the store and you running around and you doing everything your mom told you not to do, and she give you that side eye, and something inside you be like, oh, you just straighten right on up. It seemed like it was one of those I'm looking at you because we probably didn't had this conversation about how you just let things slide, and now you about to let this slide now, and it just, I don't know. I don't know what caused it, but whatever the triggers was, he needs to, if somebody can trigger you to that point, you really need to go to some anger management classes and kind of channel that energy into something positive, into doing something positive, or being able to handle that in a much better way. You know, so on both, well, like I said, he handled it well, Chris Rock did, but in that moment. But both of them really need to just kind of try to figure out a better way to be with, well, we as a people, we, especially Black men, Black women, sometimes we don't stick together. So I understand what you're saying wholeheartedly, Eli. We do need to learn how to treat each other in a much better way.
Yes, absolutely. I
Because
totally
even
agree.
if it's, I mean, if it's not real, I mean, he didn't have to accept, because he never has to accept his apology. He never has to do anything, but it would gain him so much more respect, and maybe more a larger platform and fan base that he already has, if he would even let this man publicly apologize to him and say, okay, I accept it, and never speak to him again in life.
Right.
But because we would never know that, but on the surface, oh my goodness, he took that smack, and here he is, and then he humbled himself enough to let this man apologize and shake his hand and blah blah blah, and it would have just allowed his light to shine a little brighter, I think.
Right.
I think that, and he will. I think that eventually he will get there. I just don't think he's there yet, because in this, I mean, it takes a lot to get over a traumatic experience. You know what I mean? And for him, it was a traumatic experience. And so it's not like we can say, oh, get over it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a death and a grief. It's like you grieving for 13 years and people like, oh my God, it's been 13 years. Get over it. But for us, it might be an easy thing to do. But we're not Chris Rock.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
but it's going to be out there be out there forever. It's not like we heard Will smack Chris. You know what I mean? And we just heard, so then people can forget about it because it's not visual. Everybody's seen it. It's going to be the joke for a lifetime.
I'm sorry. Then you think about it like this. Like, who would then get more relief if Chris Rock was to say tomorrow, you know what, let's sit down, let's have a conversation, let's talk about what happened, I apologize. Who would get more, I mean, and Will Smith say I apologize, and who would get more relief from that? It would probably be Will Smith, because now it's lifted off of him. So let him simmer in that a little bit longer, so that maybe he can learn that was not the right thing to do. If I just say, all right, you know what, all is forgiven, maybe then you'll feel like, okay, you could do it again. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, I think as a professionals would tell you that it allow you to heal too. It would allow you to heal as well.
It will, but you have to be ready for. To be ready for it, and that's what my point is. I don't think he's there yet. I think he will get there, but I don't think that he's there yet. Mm-hmm. And I don't have the right to tell him when he should
be there.
Absolutely.
Because I didn't get smacked in my face. Because if I would have got smacked in my face, yeah.
I think a good majority of people would have, the instant reaction would have been a smack back or a shut, because that's your instant, I mean, it's most people's instant reaction. So yeah, for him to take it, I thought it was staged. I was like, oh, okay, so what is this? So, you know, because he did take it. So.
Right. And at that point, I think that Chris should have got an Oscar. I mean,
how about that?
I mean, those acting was on point. So, like, he really should have been presented an Oscar that evening.
Well, maybe Will would have gave him his Oscar and said, you know what, hey man, you deserve this more than I do right now. I just embarrassed you on national TV. Maybe all would have been forgiven at that point. Who knows?
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have given me perspective, and I've looked at it. I'm looking at it differently. I mean, just as we talk, you know, I mean, the slamming of the mic, I didn't even put it into context with what he said. I was just like, oh, and that was his last joke, and he slammed the mic like he did something. That was like that wasn't the drop the mic joke, but it wasn't about the joke, and I get that now. So it's like when you know,
it's just getting it out, getting it out.
So,
because I've held this in for a year, so I'm just getting it out and purging me. Now, could it have been done in a better way? Yes. And we're not saying that your opinion isn't valued, because it is. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, whether we agree or disagree. You know what I mean? But it's just I just try to think from both sides of the fence, not just one side. So I'm glad that we were able to, you know, have a dialogue about it, because it's something, again, that continues. And I hear people say, oh, Chris Rock he went too far in his video, but in his Netflix special, but it was what he needed to do to get it off for him, to get it out. You know, because I don't care what kind of traumatic experience you go through, people handle things in a different way. It's not, sometimes it's healthy and sometimes it's not healthy. And if he wouldn't have gotten it out in what he considers a healthy way, he might have done something that was not healthy. You know what I mean? Right. So I don't condone people being name called or called out your name and stuff like that. But at the same token, I don't condone somebody being physically violent to one another either.
So, and if this world, and if these young boys can take some notes from Chris Rock, because it's so much violence in the streets and everything, you know what I'm saying? To just like, you know, don't resort to violence. You know, it's say what you want to say. You know, hey, I know I'm not a B, so you can call me that all you want to call me. You know, I know who I am. You know, I love myself first, so it's like don't even engage in that. But
I think some people, and I've heard it and I read it a lot too, and I'm like, it didn't bother me as much, but I think a lot of people are angry with Chris because of the number of times that he used the N-word and thought he was pandering to white people because he kept using the N-word and blah 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 and blah 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 and blah blah blah, and that I mean rolled off my back, because years ago the N-word I don't think ever had any weight with me. Because it's just a word. I mean, I've called white people that plenty of times, because it's, to me, that word signifies an ignorant person.
Anybody can be ignorant.
Exactly. So and I think part of our problem is we own that word like it belongs to us, like it's a badge of honor or something, and it's not. Who cares? Like, let it go, and then you won't have this. Like, I wouldn't react if somebody called me, and I've said this 1,000 times. Somebody called me the N-word. If really. That's what you think I am? Great. Okay. No, it's not going to make me how dare you? Like, because it's just a word, and for me, it's a word that has zero power. In fact, I think it's the opposite. It's a trigger word, and they know, oh, I'm not now, and then you gave them a story. So he didn't call you the N-word. You didn't punch him in the eye. You didn't got fired, and then all week he's been up and down the office showing off this black eye that you didn't gave him, and they're talking, oh, let me see it. You see what he did to me? Look at this eye. So he became a celebrity in the office because you didn't blacked his eye and you didn't got fired, and he triggered you to do that.
Right.
Well, it definitely is a trigger word, because that's where it came from. You know, that's how they looked at us and referred to us. So for them to use that, and it was mainly during the slavery days, for them to use that, it definitely is a trigger word. I mean, we have gotten that spray painted on our steps in Upper Darby when we lived in Upper Darby. So, and a brick through our window. So I've been subject to racism, and it does trigger you. You know,
well, I would say that for some people, it is a trigger word for a lot of people, and it should be a trigger word. But I wish that, I mean, we use the word so fluently now in music and everything. And, you know, even in television, sometimes we don't use the N-word, but we use certain words. Bitch, I'll say it. You know, so we're using words that could be trigger words with such fluency that sometimes people think it's okay.
Right. You know, I think part of my dismissal of the word is, you know, my upbringing. Like I was born on my father's 65th birthday. So he was born in 1910. He never, there was not one point in his life that he ever show that he was affected by it. It's black. It's so cliche. His best friend was white. That he was affected by racism in that way. So if my father, who lived through it, whose parents lived through it, was never fazed by it, then who am I to say, oh yeah, I'm in outrage when my father has lived his life
through it,
lived through it. Again, I mean, I know it. Sometimes when I say, yeah, he was born in 1910, people are like, what? Yeah, 1910. And when I say I was born on his 65th birthday. So it wasn't to this old man's birthday. I mean, I was in junior high, and people were like, oh, that's why your dad's 55. I'm like, yep, you're right, because he looked 55 then.
Right. Wow.
He moved 55 then. We were playing baseball. Like my father was a different breed. So and so again, so to not have him be affected by any of this, there's not one time that he ever told me, son, this is what they're going to do to you, because I don't know if he didn't want me to be fazed by it too much, or I mean, which could be a double-edged sword, or he didn't want me to live my life assuming that every bad thing that happened to me is because of the white man.
Right.
It's because of the white, because sometimes it's me. It's something I do.
It is you. It's never nobody. Right. I mean, only thing like opportunities or things like that we didn't get, and we getting slighted for opportunities.
Right.
But you make your own choices, and you set up your own destination. I mean, we can't blame anyone but ourselves the way we decided to live our lives.
Right.
I'm an advocate of that. You know, don't blame nobody else but yourself.
You look in the mirror.
And so, you know, you do have a lot. You have people who, you know, I can't stand the white man. I can't say, like, y'all gotta think about it. If it wasn't for a lot of the white people who marched with Martin Luther King, you think if it was just us marching,
who had the power to sign papers?
Yep.
You know,
yep. Absolutely.
Yes, you know, and so I'm just sick of the difference of race. We're all one people, you know what I mean?
We just got human race is what matters. People took human out of it, and we could go on and on. I
know exactly. We only did one hood news. We had a couple other ones, but we about we about to get out of here in a few minutes. But Eli, we want to thank you so much for joining us to talk.
Where are you from? Share that with our audience.
Philly originally. I'm in Delaware now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Philly originally is where I'm from.
Okay. Yeah. And so thank you so much
for
responding, because it does, and we can agree to disagree, you know. I mean,
absolutely.
And I value your opinion, you know, and I just want people to also value my opinion.
Absolutely.
You know, God made everybody different. You know, everybody's not going to have the same perspective on certain situations. But when you have an open dialogue, and I think this is where the racists need to have, you know how they have a room, and they need to have the younger generation. Maybe they can understand them a little more. It has to be an open dialogue, because now what we were talking about with the drop the mic with Chris Rock, and you said, okay, you thinking, oh, I ain't see it that way. And now, you know, we're opening your eyes to something else because we're talking about it.
Right.
And I think that needs to happen with a lot of things. We just need to talk about it.
Even with the violence that's going on, you know, I think that the some of the beefs that they have can be handled through effective communication skills, but we have forgotten how, or haven't been taught how to effectively communicate for understanding and not for rebuttal and response all the time. You know what I mean? So
I say it. People are listening to respond versus listening to hear and understand.
Exactly.
Right.
And when you do that, you are not really listening. You don't even hear what the other person is saying. You're not even giving them the opportunity to explain from their perspective, So yeah, we could do a whole master class.
Absolutely. Yeah. I appreciate you guys having me on. I actually I do my own podcast, and it's been on hiatus for about a year now, and so this is going to
spark it back up.
Put me back into it. Yeah, because as I mentioned before, I'm an advocate for dads, and I recently left my job to kind of start a consulting firm for a child custody consulting firm, because going through this custody, I have custody of my children, and my ex-wife filed to change that in September, and it really messed my head up and messed my kids' head up. And she had said some things to them that was really upsetting, and I couldn't respond in the way that I thought I couldn't respond with the anger that I wanted to respond with. It would have looked good,
especially not in the custody.
Right. And then I couldn't say to her, "Hey, do you know what you're doing? Do you know how you're upsetting them?" Either. Right. So, or she wasn't hearing it, but thank the Lord, all of that got squashed. But it sparked in me that this is probably what I need to be doing. I need to be telling my story more. I need to be helping other men and women who may need, because I've done it. I've mentored folks over the years, but I've never thought about it other than just me helping somebody out. And so now in this perspective, I'm looking to do it not just to help them, but also to try to change, because people don't realize that some of that, even if 1% of the domestic violence is ended by me trying to help and sit down and mediate with people or help them, because one of the biggest triggers to violence is, oh, you're never going to see this kid again. Oh, who's not?
Right.
Who's not? So if we can kind of get that under control, or be able to talk a guy down and say, hey, listen, she can say that all day, but she doesn't have the power.
She's not the law.
She is not the law. Exactly. And walk them through steps that they can do and prepare them.
And that's the problem. They're not educated enough to know, or they don't think that they have any power.
Absolutely.
And so it resorts not only to violence with, their ex, but it also have them to, you see all the kidnappings of the children, taking them somewhere else, or knowing that child means a lot to you. They're taking, their lives.
Absolutely.
And I mean, we are living in a sad world, y'all.
Absolutely.
Things are so different, from my parents' generation to our generation, and this younger generation. I hate to hear that term that they're lost, but it's so many different things that they have to deal with.
Right.
And social media, and I can't preach that enough. Social media has a lot to do with it.
Oh yeah, influence. Yep, it does. It does. I think it's influencing everybody. I mean, even I said this to someone a few weeks ago. It's even because there was stats that said there was 7.5 million men sitting at home unemployed right now, and it's because there's these jobs that I guess labor intensive jobs that perhaps nobody wants anymore. And I had mentioned, I was like, but I wonder if it's, I wonder how much social media has effect on that, because, I'm going to go out here and get this job being, the maintenance man. But now this girl that I started talking to has now found out I was the maintenance man, and her girlfriend like, he's the maintenance. What you doing with the janitor? You deserve better than him. And now I have a good, honest job, but my good, honest job isn't good enough for me to be able to be with anyone, because they're looking down on it, because, where we can't go to the Caymans or whatever that social media is showing other celebrities are doing or other people are doing and stuff like that. And this is long gone are the days where, oh, we can go half on it. Don't worry about it, because, it's no, wait, you paid for the trip? What is he doing? Like, it's always about.
Right.
And I get it. And that's one of the reasons why I always tell people that have children to, I know that it's probably not easy to do, but raise them to be leaders and not followers.
Absolutely.
Because if they are followers, they are bound to follow people in the wrong direction. And then what other people have to say affects them, or they care about it way too much. Like, I'm so glad that I don't care. Like, you can say, oh girl, you should do this, or why are you paying for this, and why let's Lynette do what she want to do when she want to do it and how she want to do it. And I don't care what nobody has to say. But there are people out there who live and die and breathe, like, I call it external validation. I don't need nobody to tell me anything about me or mine. You know what I mean? But there's some people that crave that external validation. Like, this is where the social media piece comes in. And it's so sad to watch. It's like you can just see it, and to me, it's so sad to watch. It's like, wow, that's a shame that you feel like you can't, like what you were saying. If somebody was, if I had an ex who was a grass cutter, a landscaper, you know, whatever you want to call it. If somebody would say, oh, he cutting grass, I'd be like, and he got a job. He's legitimately, you know, like, I'm not, I don't care, like, what nobody had to say.
Exactly. But half of the ones that's saying that, they ain't even got a man. So, like, be quiet, boo boo.
Even if they did, you don't have to live my life, and I don't have to live yours.
Exactly. Absolutely. But I know, like, a lot of my coworkers used to, because maintenance, CFOs, it didn't matter who you was, and I think it's a culture thing, but we speak to each other. Even out on the street, if we make eye contact, how you doing? And they be like, Franchella, you know everybody. I don't know them people. What you said? I said, because it's free. It's nothing to say hello or good morning.
It doesn't cost anything. That's my line. It doesn't cost anything to say hello to somebody or any of those things. It doesn't.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I
know we over time, but back to what you were saying about the custody battle, I do want to share something. I did know a guy who went through something similar, and the unfortunate part in his situation was, it's sad to say, because this is a whole nother show, that it seemed like the judge even was siding more with the mother as opposed to the father, because for some people it's not the norm that the dad, especially for a black man, to want to step up. Well, you shouldn't even say step up, because it's the part of their responsibility. But we have a narrative where the black men are absent in children's lives, because in a lot of children's lives, some of them are, but it also happens in other homes as well. It's just that we get stigmatized in that way. But anyway, like I said, so I felt bad for him, because I was like, you know what? I wish that there were more people like you who wants to be in your child's life. You know what I mean? Because people don't see that. And then maybe it would change the judge's mind to be, they always say, oh, it's about the safety of the children. It's about the safety of the children. But is it really, when it's a battle between a mother and a father? Sometimes they just automatically want to put that child with the mother. And is that always the best thing? Not necessarily. It depends on how the mother is raising the children. And that should really be the gist of it. So I hope you do bring your show back. I hope you do bring your podcast back, because a lot more people are dealing with that in this day and time, especially with the mothers being younger and younger, and they're out here trying to get a bag, and this bag, my bag, and this. So it's just the mindset of people just,
I'm going to just tell you quickly how pleased I am at the results of our children. So they have been with me full time since COVID. So going through online school, which something that we've never done, being in a pandemic, something that we've never done, don't know anything about. They did that. They went to hybrid, then they went back to online, in a brand new school, in a brand new state, thriving, straight A students, both in enrichment or gifted programs, My fifth grader is about to graduate elementary school, and my third grader can't wait till she gets out so he can now be the star of the school. Because competing with her, and that's why that's why it messed my head up so much, because she didn't think twice about how far they've come and the level of accomplishments that they've done. Wow. It was all about, oh no, you weren't supposed to be there that long. It's time to come back, and not a plan, not a better school. And I'm a proponent for
education.
It's whoever the best parent is. And I also believe that
I agree.
Whoever has the better school district, whoever has the better school, it should be automatic. It shouldn't be, oh, they have to go to school in this neighborhood because this is where mom lives. Whichever school has the better school district, the parents should be smart enough to say, hey, nope, they're going to school over there, because it's about their future and what's best for them. And we're not looking at that. It's all about possession. It's, oh, that's my child. It's my, no, it's not. We need to do what's best for our child.
Exactly. But as Lynette had said a few minutes ago, how it's not a lot of fathers that would step up, and that makes it bad for those who do step up.
Exactly.
And so
that's my cousin Eddie.
Like even now let's say this, y'all, and we have to go. We have to wrap this up. But let's say this is honestly, in a two parent household, if the dad wants to go out, or he's going to hang with the boys, or he need to run to the store, he just goes. But if we want,
no, he don't say.
And if we want to go, we always have to ask them, hey, can you watch the kids while I go such and such? Hey, can you watch it? It's like, can you watch the kids? Like, we gotta, and we can't just walk out the door. Guys would just walk out the door and expect and know that the mother's going to take care of them.
Yeah, that's a disrespectful household, because
it's like, what you doing?
There's a million disrespectful households out here.
You can't ask. You're not gonna ask me to watch my kids. What do you mean they're my kids? I'm not watching them. Which is one of the words I hate is visit. And I hate the word visitation more than I hate the N word, because who visits their children? They're yours. You're not. You go visit a senior center. You go visit your neighbors. You don't visit your children. But when you talk about them in that manner, that's how we end up getting in this place. And just to your point of guys won't do it, this is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an easy task, and you're losing. Like, you have to fight twice as hard, if not 3 times as hard, as mom, just to prove. And that's the thing, that you have to prove. There's no playbook. Mom didn't get a playbook because when she delivered the baby, she delivered a playbook on how to raise the baby. But just because she did, she's automatically here, and you're here. But why is that? That's because that's how society has placed us. And you have to fight. You have to want to fight this. Now,
and a lot of men some men start the fight, but some men, because that's what happened to my friend. He started the fight, but he gave up because he felt like he wasn't going to win because of that stigma that society places on men rearing children. Like, it's sad. It's sad, but
I've been blessed to not blessed. I can't. Blessed, but so it was a misfortune and blessed, because I grew up in a household where my parents were married. I know that I wasn't supposed to have children out of wedlock. However, I did, and then I had another one, and then I got married and had 2 more. So I have 4 children and 3 baby moms, and it sounds terrible, but they're my children. I love them to death. But the point in that is that I lost my home that I owned. I fought for 8 years to get custody of my firstborn daughter, not because I wanted to have her, because I knew that I was better for her. And it took that long. I lost my house in the process of doing it because I was fighting for it. In the process of fighting for my daughter, my son's mother thought, as you said, giving up pain, my pain over still fighting in this journey was, well, when are you going to get over that? She's with her mom. That's what it is. No, that's not the best place for her. So, and I didn't get over that fast enough. So we split. Right. And she took my son. So, and she moved to Maryland. And because I was already fighting this, I didn't have the energy, anything to fight for that too. And I felt terrible about it. But ultimately, she ended up giving him to me in his teenage years because she couldn't handle it.
Right.
But now at this point, I'm married with 2 children, and it was just not working with my ex-wife. It's interesting because I think that people don't realize the love a father has for his child, and I've repeatedly seen that there's a level of jealousy between a partner that I'm with and the love that I have for my children, which is insane to me. But
it really is. So you really got to be careful with that, because you really got to be careful with that, because to me, if you're with somebody and I love you, then how can I not love your children?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So
we're gonna have to bring this back.
Yep.
You got to be on our show. You got to come back and be on our show.
Bring you back, Eli, so we can talk more about this and bring other people in. Maybe
absolutely. I would love to. I mean, you guys let me know, because as I said, you've gotten me back into it, and there's a lot of things going on. Plus, again, again, with me starting this business, I want to be able to, put it out there. It's Dads Are Dope.
Dads Are Dope.
Dads Are Dope.
It's a double acronym. Dads Are Dope. So it's dads that are dedicated and optimistic about parental equality. So it's Dads Are Dope Child Custody Coach, and that's the purpose. Is where the goal is to try to get parental equality. So that you, from the rip, that you're responsible. It's not like you don't have the choice to be able to say, all right, I'm leaving. No, because where your kids going to be? Where you leaving, sir?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I
applaud you for staying in the fight. And even though I know it's not an easy feat, but when something means that much to you, you fight for it,
Right.
Absolutely.
So good for you.
I'm glad you didn't lose your sanity in this fight, because some people, give up, and mentally is draining, financially is draining. So I absolutely commend you for doing that. I have a friend who has a daddy university, so maybe I can connect you guys, because he's doing something with that.
Joel,
yeah. I actually went through daddy university when I probably back in 2005 or 6 or something like that. Okay. And and it's interesting because we have a mutual friend that that talked about doing something else with Joel, because I didn't realize Joel was a doula either, and so that's a whole nother conversation about something that's something else. So so
let people know where they can find you, Eli, in case they want to contact you and they heard the show and they's like, okay, I need to know more information from this brother. So let people know where they can find you.
So Dads Are Dope. That's DAD AREDOPE Child Custody Coach. That's on Facebook. The email I'm finishing my website this week, but the email for it is ccc.info.dad@gmail.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Dad Dialect. That's the podcast that I do for it. It's Dad Dialect. It's Speaking the Language of Fatherhood. That's the podcast that I'm bringing back. So you can find me either one of those platforms.
Okay. Awesome. Once again,
thank you so much
for our hood news and sharing this wonderful thing that you're doing. And of course, best of luck, to you. And we commend you for your strength and continuing many blessings. So thank you again for being on our show.
And make sure you send an email with your information to rrrtalkradio@yahoo.com so we can contact you to be on another show.
Absolutely, will do. All right, thank you so much.
Best of luck with everything, and thank you for your feedback as well. Thank you for being on the Real Recognized Real Talk Radio show and keeping it 100.
Yeah. Thank you. Yep.
Bye-bye. Thank you to Langston as well. Make sure y'all get his CD. Thank everybody for tuning in. We went over because we had a lot to talk about, Franchella. And
I know.
Make sure y'all come out this Saturday. Before I forget, this Saturday, March the 18th, 5 to 9 at the Chipotle, 11th and Montgomery Avenue on Temple's campus. I'm having a fundraiser for my nonprofit. It's for our Stop the Violence initiative. So make sure you support. It's at the Chipotle, 1100 West Montgomery Avenue from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Come out and make a purchase to support my nonprofit so we can continue to stop this gun violence in the city of Philadelphia and offer the youth something positive to do. So I had to make sure that I plugged that before today is over.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And my little cousin Nadia, who was on the show on April the 8th at noon to 3 o'clock. It's called the Hoops Dreams Inc. They're giving away brand new prom gowns for any young person in junior, senior high school. It's at the Prayer and Faith Temple off of Lancaster Avenue in West Philadelphia. So if you know anybody that is looking for a prom dress, they are giving away brand new free prom dresses on April the 8th. So hit me up. I'm gonna put the flyer out on our website. Yes, and also please support Lynette at her venue for her nonprofit as well. She's trying to do some big things and save some of our youth. Is definitely greatly needed. So please support this best co-host a girl could have.
She said it, I didn't. Thank you.
Anyway, y'all, thank you for tuning in. Until next month, every second Tuesday in a month, please tune in as we always bring you a fabulous show. All right, y'all. We out.